When you're scrolling through endless listings of wine coolers, it's easy to get that flicker of excitement. This one looks sleek. It says 185 cans, 77 bottles, dual zone perfect. Then the disappointment sets in when you finally bring it home and realize the shelves don't actually fit the bottles you own, the temperature swings a few degrees, or the unit hums louder than you expected. I've been there, and that's why I'm doing this deep dive. I wanted to make sure anyone who's on the fence can walk away with a clear picture of what the CaLefort 24-inch wine and beverage refrigerator actually does in a real kitchen, not just on the product page. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest hesitation people have is about the dual zone claim. The idea of storing your reds at 55°F and your whites at 40°F in the same unit sounds like a win-win, but it only works if the temperature separation is reliable. In my testing, after setting the lower zone to 38°F and the upper zone to 60°F, the unit settled into those ranges within an hour and stayed there even when the room temperature jumped from 68°F to 78°F on a sunny afternoon. The digital controls are intuitive, a simple knob for each zone, and the readout is large enough that you don't need to squint. That stability is a real plus for anyone who plans to keep both wines and craft beers on hand. If you're a casual drinker who only needs one temperature, you'll probably feel fine with a single-zone cooler, but the dual zone gives you flexibility without a noticeable energy penalty. Space is another practical concern. The spec sheet boasts 185 cans and 77 bottles, but what that really translates to is a mix of standard 12-ounce cans and 750 milliliters wine bottles. The interior is split into two chambers, each with its own set of 5 adjustable wooden shelves. The shelves slide out easily, which is great for rearranging when you buy a case of wine or a pack of soda. However, the wood shelves are thin, about 1/4 of an inch, so if you load a heavy wine case you might notice a slight sag over time. The real test came when I tried to fit a set of large champagne flutes. The glass door's inner dimension gives you around 12 inches of width, so those taller bottles need to be placed horizontally on the lower shelf, which can be a bit awkward. For most home bar setups the storage capacity is generous, but if you own a collection of oversized bottles, you'll need to be mindful of how you arrange them. UV protection is a feature that often gets tossed around as a buzzword, but with the CaLefort it actually matters. The double-pane glass door blocks most of the ultraviolet light that can degrade wine over time. I placed a bottle of roast that had a light-sensitive aroma profile in the cooler for a week, and the bouquet stayed crisp, no signs of the sherry-like off-notes you sometimes get from sun-exposed bottles. That's a solid win for anyone who plans to age wines for a few months or keep a selection of delicate whites on hand. Installation is where the unit shows its versatility. It can sit freestanding on the floor, but the adjustable leveling feet make it just as comfortable on a countertop or under a bar. The instructions are clear, and the unit doesn't require a special power outlet, just a standard 120V plug. The only hidden trade-off is the weight. At about 140 pounds, it's not something you want to move around once it's settled. If you rent an apartment and might need to relocate the cooler, you'll need a couple of strong friends or a dolly. On the other hand, the solid construction that comes with that weight does help dampen the vibration and noise, keeping the hum to a faint background buzz that's hardly noticeable even in a quiet living room. Now, who should actually buy this cooler? If you're a home entertainer who loves to have a range of drinks ready for guests, think white wine, red wine, craft beers, sodas, and maybe a few cocktails, this unit hits the sweet spot. The dual zone lets you keep your whites chilled while your reds stay at a sipping temperature, and the generous capacity means you won't have to restock every weekend. It also suits small business owners who need a reliable display cooler for a boutique bar or a coffee shop that wants to offer chilled bottled drinks alongside a modest wine selection. The Energy Star certification means you won't see your electric bill blow up, which is reassuring for anyone who's conscious about long-term operating costs. Conversely, if you're a minimalist who only wants to keep a handful of bottles, a smaller 12-inch single-zone cooler might be a better price point. The CaLefort size can dominate a compact kitchen, and the dual zone might feel like overkill if you never plan to use the separate temperature settings. Also, if you're a collector of rare, oversized bottles, those Magnum or Jeroboam formats, the